you mentioned before, separating, you having your own personality into what you were doing with Big Body Hobby. Uh, Again, to kind of take it away from wrestling a little bit, what do you do on your off time to kind of de-stress? Because I mean, going through all that, it must have been tough, and being in the system, the WWE system, for how long you were. What do you kind of do nowadays, or what did you kind of do to kind of take yourself out of it and kind of de-stress from that grind? Because I'm pretty sure it's not easy, right? It's not easy physically, and it's not easy mentally. So what did you kind of do to decompress, and what do you kind of do to kind of pull yourself out of it and relax?
I'm a bit of a homebody for the most part. Which is funny to say because I'm a very outgoing individual. If you hear me talk, or I'm very welcoming. People seem to flock to me, like when I'm like people just seem to talk to me in public, which is great. It's not not a bad thing whatsoever. But for the most part, I'm a homebody. Like when I get out, I'll have fun. I like bowling. I like going to the water park. Me and Joe Gacy love water parks. So that's something that we do.
Who?
Joe Gacy,
No,
Joseph Sawyer. Yeah.
there you go.
Um,
Mental
but
note: when we have him on in July, discuss water parks.
Yeah,
yes,
we have
bring
him
up water
coming up.
parks. Okay, bring up water parks. That's me and his trauma bond, emotional bond. That's what we do. That's what we do together. So, I love going to water parks. I haven't been to one in a minute, so yeah, maybe the time's coming soon. But water parks, I like to come home, and I like to, it depends on what era you're talking about. Because sometimes I'd come home and I'd just play video games with my friends or whatever. Or I right now, I wouldn't say that it's something I do to. I feel like I'm adding it on top of everything else that I do. I've got this band going, Shattered by Hope, and music was always a big thing, and so I've always been a musician, and I think I tried starting a group when I was in WWE, but it just didn't pan out with the people that I had. They either didn't want to do it or their schedules didn't allow for it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just not the time to do it. And then of course, when I got injured, when I got injured, I had to think about my evolution as a character, and I know you didn't ask this question quite yet, but with the Core Kid Hobby stuff, obviously that came from somewhere. So I'm a big fan of metalcore, so I love old school Avenged Sevenfold. I love Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, Unearth. Like there's a whole litany of lists in my head right now. But I love that old school feeling. I would go to these concerts, and people was like, Javi, I didn't know you like this type of music, because like they recognize me from TV, and they're like yeah. And so I thought, these are my people. This is what I need to rebrand myself as and come back. So at the time when I was injured, I wrote my theme song, the one that I'm using now. I wrote my theme song in hopes to use it when I returned back to TV when I got out of injury. There's a whole, there's legal stuff, that they couldn't use it. I don't recall, but so now I have the song, and I have it listed under Shattered by Hope. Me and a guy from a local band, Matt Brown from the High Ground. He kind of helped me write this song, and that's kind of where it's been. I know the question was about what I do to relax, and I guess that would be
No,
that kind of would fall into the category. It's another responsibility, but it's something that
Don't worry, we were going to get into your type of music and your band too, so you
'Cause-
just opened the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
for real,
All right.
because Ego Pandy in the comments has been going off. He mentioned you and Tatum were in a music video. Is that true? And what video was it?
Yes, we were. We are good friends with this band called Not Enough Space. They are a metalcore band from Orlando, and we are in the song "Solace in Silence." We were in that music video. So go and try to see if you can figure out where we're at. But it was a lot of fun. Make sure to go support them because they're a really fun time. Their music is great and they're great people to be around. So.
And then he asks, did you even like your theme in WWE? Did you get to pick it?
Nope and nope.
Fair enough.
Nope and nope.
Straight up.
And then he's like, Joe, Javi and Gacy water park stream when.
If I can figure out the logistics of that.
All I'm imagining is like Bill and Ted in Excellent Adventure when they go to Waterloo to try to get Napoleon. And I'm like imagining you and Gacy doing those type of shenanigans like Napoleon.
We have some videos from the water park because I have like this this case that's waterproof. But beyond that, I'd have to figure out the logistics of a stream, but that would be fun.
Maybe just a vlog, you guys
vlog
could
might
shoot
work out.
video.
Right.
Like, he could film you could film him, and then you just like edit it all together.
Yeah.
But like I said, as soon as he put that, I'm immediately envisioning Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when they go to Waterloo.
That's not too far off.
Joe and Javi's Excellent Water Adventure.
Right.
Right. We'll have to do a little docuseries because and I'm sure Joe will tell you he's into the movies and making films and stuff. So maybe we'll have to make a water parks docuseries.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm loving this. So you got into some of the metalcore. What other bands are you into? Is metalcore like your premier genre that you listen to? Do you get into other stuff as well? Talk a little bit about your music choices like Walter mentioned.
Obviously I'd say metalcore is kind of where I default to. I love the old school stuff. I do listen to, a bunch of other, I love ska, for example. I've found, Goldfinger, Less Than Jake, I like ska. I like, Big Body Hobby was very much other than it being Chris Jericho, it was also very much Steel Panther. That's and I love that. I love them. They're musical geniuses pretending to be idiots playing as musical geniuses, and it's a great act. Steel. I love a lot of hair metal. Steel Panther, White Snake, Van Halen. So I love that stuff too. I'm friends with Necrogoblicon, which is like a technical death metal band, but they have like a goblin running around on stage with them. They're such a fun time. So I'm all over the place. When I first started playing guitar and singing and all that, I really liked blues. I love playing blues guitar and stuff like that. So I was really, really into that. Obviously new metal is another one too. I love the Biscuit. So love Biscuit and Cold Chamber and all of them. So
I feel like if you're into wrestling, you have to love Limp Bizkit. They did so many iconic pay-per-view themes. That WrestleMania 17 My Way video package lives rent-free in wrestling fans' heads.
You have to appreciate the Biscuit at the very least.
I'm just glad you listen to so much stuff, because you could ask this guy when we were in Vegas and I would play my phone. He would look at me because my music is the most random, from death metal to country to and I'm glad because as a Black and Latino person, they'll stereotype you, and then they listen to your I always used to joke with my wife because she does the same thing. She listens to me. I said if we lost our MP3 players, I'm aging myself, but if we lost our MP3 player and based on the type of music we listen to, they would never figure out who we are, what.
Yeah.
Who
are these people?
Yeah.